Hey, this is Brian, thanks for watching Keys. In today's video, I'm gonna show you step-by-step how to install our KIES valve controller on a 992 GT3 RS. If you've watched our channel for any length of time, you'll know that we love installing these on everything from a base Carrera up to the top of the line RS models. Our KIES valve controller is a simple plug-and-play, undetectable device that allows you to do two things. First, you can fully open your valves for maximum sound with a simple press of a button, or if you'd like to revert it back to the factory settings, all you need to do is press the other button and you're back in the factory mode. It installs in just a few minutes and makes a huge difference in sound. Now, the car behind me has a bone stock exhaust, so today's video we're gonna focus on showing you how to install it step by step and what it sounds like if you have a factory exhaust. Now, you may notice some decals on this car behind me. This car belongs to Austin over at Valvetronic Design. If you have an exhaust like a Valvetronic, what's going to happen, as long as you have a factory valve, this is going to be compatible with your car as well. Now, if you're curious to see what it sounds like on an aftermarket exhaust, click the link down in the description for when that video is available, and we'll show you what this sounds like with a Valvetronic exhaust. Now, before I get started with the installation, here's a little sneak peek on what it's going to sound like. First part of the process, there's these little doors over here. What you want to do is just press that in and it's going to pop up just like that. Then once you've lifted this up, what you do is you take that part like that and you slip it through and set this in a safe location. Next, what we recommend doing is just throwing down some painter's tape to make sure that your vehicle is going to stay protected. You can do that side and then this side over here. Once you've done that, this piece here is going to pull up just like that. Sometimes the tabs are a little bit tough. You can see that on the lower section, there's a tab here. On the sides, there's two, and then there's two of these up top. Sometimes it can be helpful if you can get a little plastic trim tool in here to release these, but sometimes it's more difficult to do that than to just very carefully just wiggle it around until it wants to pop up. Next, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side of the car. So press down. This is gonna pop up like this. Slide this little cord through here without getting your glove stuck. Then same thing, we're just gonna put a little painter's tape just to make sure that this car stays nice and protected. And then we can release the clips just like we did on the other side. Again, sometimes they come out pretty easy and sometimes they're a little bit of a fight, but there you go. Once again, you can see sometimes it sounds a lot worse than it is. All tabs intact, nothing broken. Now, for this next step, it is not necessary, we'll say, but I like to be extra careful, especially when working on cars like the RS. So what I'm going to do now, we are going to be removing this trunk deck. So I'm just going to throw some painter's tape underneath so that when I remove it and put it back on, that the light bar doesn't accidentally get scratched. Now what we need to do is we need to release two triple square bolts. These are a metric 10, so it's an M10 triple square. The first one is located over here. It's silver in color. And then there's one on the other side. After we pull those out, what we're going to do is we're going to simply pull out the rear trunk lid. All right, and that's what the bolt looks like. Then do the same thing on the other side of the car. Then what you can do is simply pull it back, and you can set this in a safe location. Okay, next what we need to do is we need to lift up on the center portion. Before we do that, there's a little connection over here. The way that this works, you take this little gray tab and you pop it out, then you press it in and it pulls right out like that. So again, from the factory, it comes already all locked. You pull this out, and then when you press it down, it's going to lift up on that tab and it slides right out. Once you've done that, you can remove the 4 T30s. There's one here, here, and then two on the other side. You guys know I love my blue tape. I'm just gonna put a piece here and a piece here. I'm gonna put a piece here. And basically what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to protect it, because once we release the 4 tabs, there's one here, roughly here and here. Once we pull up, I don't wanna scratch this at all. It shouldn't scratch, but I just wanna be extra careful. All right, once everything is protected, get your hand in here and lift up, just like that. Lift up, lift up. These tabs are really easy to work with. As you can see, they're very standard tabs that typically are found in things like door panels. All right, so what we're going to do now that we have all of that out of the way, we're going to remove the passenger side fan. Now, technically, if you want to install it on the driver's side, it's not a big deal. All you need to do is just lift up straight right there and then just wiggle those out. Flip this over. there's a little red tab. You pull it out, press it down, and the fan's going to be released just like that. Then do the exact same thing with the other fan. Just carefully wiggle it out, just like that. Release the tab and remove it from the vehicle. Now on the KIES valve controller, you can see that there is a longer cord and a shorter cord, and this is why we're going to be installing it on the passenger side. What you want to do, take the shorter one, just kind of wrap it up for a second, and you're going to take the longer cable. We're going to feed it in this hole over here, and out this one, just like that. And if you can look this way, you're going to see daylight from the ground. We're going to continue routing this all the way down to the ground. And it's going to pull out right down here. All right, so now what you want to do, if you take a look in here, this is the factory valve. So what you're going to do, release the little gray clip again, press it in, pull it out just like this. This side, this male side, is going to get clipped into our female side. Then our male side is going to get inserted into the factory valve. So let's start with this. Plug that in. Press the gray tab to lock it. Then with the other side of the harness, simply plug it in and then take the little gray tab and you're just gonna click it into place. All right, so now what you're going to do, you're going to pull some of the slack out of the cable and you're going to zip tie it to this little air duct over here just to make sure that it stays away from all of the belts. Now what we're going to do on the other side is we're going to route the cables the same way we did, just on the opposite side of the car. Okay, on this side, we're gonna do the exact same thing. Pull down on this little gray tab, press the tab in, and this is going to slide out just like that. And you're going to take our new connection, okay, clip that in, then simply plug in the other side. Make sure to push down this little tab and everything's locked. So let's jump back up top and we'll tighten this up. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we are going to zip tie it to the vent again, just like we did on the other side of the car. What you can do now is remove the backing, and I like to mount them right here. It's a nice flat spot you can get a really good mount on. And then for extra security, I just route a wire tie through here. You can see I have a couple together. And I just zip tie this, like I said, just for extra security. Typically the tape is good enough, but this way, there's no way it's going anywhere. Then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up any extra wire and we're going to secure it out of the way. All right, so at this point, everything is fully installed. All we need to do now is reassemble the rear of the car, starting with the fans. Okay, so simply plug it back in and then press in the locking tab. These two balls go into these two grommets, and then this one gets slid in down here. Then the same thing on the other side. Then you can get the rear deck, slide this down, and you can pop in those 4 top tabs. Don't forget to plug this in. You have to plug it in and then make sure that it's locked. Then from there, you can reinstall these T30s, and these are gonna get torqued down to 8 Newton meters. And from here, we can remove all of this inner blue tape. All right, next what you can do is take your trunk lid. You just set it down just like that, and then it'll clip right into place. Once you've done that, you can take those M10 triple squares. We're going to reinstall the bolts and we're going to torque them down to 23 Newton meters. Now, before we jump into putting the bolts in, what I want to do is I want to make sure these are nice, consistent panel gaps. So you can either pull them in or push them out. This one looks good over here, and this one looks good over here. All right, so what you're gonna do now, take the little cable, pull it up, line up all of your tabs, and you wanna push it down as evenly as you can. And everything should clip in super nice, just like that. Then you can take your little cable here, slide it through, just like that. Insert this tab down here. And then when you press down, it should lock in place. Then we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Again, make sure it's nice and even. And just clip the whole thing in just like that, and take your cable, make sure it's not twisted. Then you can install this. Put the bottom in first, tuck in any additional line, lock it in place. Then once you've done that, if you apply painter's tape, you can now remove it all. For demo, we're going to rev the car in 3 different modes. First off, normal mode, which is the valves closed. Next, we're going to hop into the PCM and open the valves with the sport exhaust mode. Then we're going to unlock the car's full potential with the KIES valve controller to show you the difference. you saw, the difference is huge. And if you're looking to pick one up for your 911, whether you have a Carrera, a GT3, bone stock exhaust, or an aftermarket exhaust with the factory valve system, this is going to enhance the way your car sounds. Get your 992 valve controllers at KIES.com.